Hi everyone, this is Sunit, and in this video for Soul, I am focusing on the living of the process in defining, redefining, and living words. So here I'm going to walk a example with you that I myself experienced even recently, interestingly enough. And within this also include a little bit of support, which is how you can utilize an awareness of yourself, your experience in your physical body, to assist and support in making sure that you are effectively living or embodying and applying your redefined word. But before we get there, we also need to have a look at walking through, assisting and supporting you to understand a bit more about what it really means to apply, to become, to embody, to live your redefined word in real-time moments in everyday life. Even me looking back when my process started within this all, what I faced was my mind just couldn't wrap around the fact or the reality of, what it really means to choose to embody and change into a word at will that I decided to redefine. And mostly how I started off was, my example I'm going to use here is the words unclear and clarity. Right. So I, throughout my life, went through various dimensions or various layers inside myself of the word unclear, in that I recently, for example, faced a being unclear or unresolved, almost hazy, and a fogginess within myself, my mind, where I was looking at issues, problems, and not one or two, but many. And it started creating over time, this has been a couple of days, over time, this overall sensation and experience within me of, just feeling like things are just so unresolved, and everything's starting to mist up even more inside myself, almost, and inside my own head, creating this thick, dense fog, where eventually the same points were coming up in my thoughts over and over and over again. So it's like creating this tornado of just almost foggy, misty, deep, dense darkness inside myself. And this was going on for a while. And, here, just to quickly also go over the defining, redefining, and living word process that I walk, to give you some more context of the living of process, that in the defining process, I firstly define this experience within me very clearly. Like, what am I creating? What can I relate it to? This can also help you in the defining process to make your defining of what you're facing within yourself more clear. Is relating it to something. Like, for me, I related it to a fogginess, a tornado of fogginess, a density, a thickness within myself that eventually even created a heaviness. And then I identified that there was a heaviness here, my lower back, pain even. My whole back felt really, and upper spine, my shoulders felt rock hard and tense and sore, and this also helped me create and establish that awareness of myself and my body, and what words that I am currently living or doing, not only to me in my head inside, but my whole physical experience. So, like, okay, sit back, let's look at this, let's get to getting through this, understanding it. And once I started opening up all the singular problems and issues that were circling in my head, just becoming more and more foggy and dense and mystified and unresolved and mysterious even, I started seeing solutions, for all the things that was going on inside of me. But And here's the mistake that we often make, where we don't take our realizations and what we see inside into the outside, into our actual world, with real people. And this is me years back. And so initially I was like, oh my goodness, I see everything. Everything's so resolved within me. Now that means I'm done. The mist is clear, doesn't feel dense or foggy. My whole body feels light and free. So now I can just go on. And then, so what would happen is when I would meet actual people in my life who the issues were about in my head, created the problem in the first place, the fogginess would come back, yes, the unresolved experiences, the heaviness, the physical sensations. But then I would go, no, I resolved this. I'm just practice it now. So I wouldn't talk to them about anything, nor really write it out for myself, forgive it, process it, go through it. I would just think if I know the problem, I see a solution and I feel the solution, I can just feel it inside myself and experience it. And then the good comes and the bad just goes away and then, it's done. And so every time I'd see the same people, the same past, experiences would come up in me. And then I would just go, nope, I decided to live clarity, live the word resolved, live the word solution. And I've already done everything. So, I'm just going to keep on playing the seesaw game inside. And it carried on for weeks where I would just do the seesaw inside. The past would come up and I would just, being unclear. And then I would live the word clarity, feeling resolved. I found solutions inside of me. That's surely all that matters now. So eventually I sat back and I was like, this hasn't changed at all in these last weeks. I kept on seesawing inside myself when I saw the same people. And then I just looked and projected it into the future. And so if I continue like this, it's going to be never ending. So what am I missing here? And that was actually quite shocking, seeing to what extent we're really only existing in here. And we think that, we're only creating problems in here, in our heads, and in our own emotions and our thoughts. And so therefore, we just need to solve it or resolve it in here. When in fact, we are not coming back into reality and seeing, for example, in the past memories, word choices we've used, personalities we've become towards those very people, things we've said, things we've not said, things we've done, not done, how we've reacted to it, how they may have reacted to it. So it's like this video I would like to use for everyone as a wake-up call to really ask yourself, look, how much am I just seesawing solutions and problems inside my own head and emotions and experiences? How much of it am I actually transferring into real communication with people? Real sitting down, resolving things within me, talking about it within them, changing my personality, changing my behavior, changing my voice tonality, the words I use, everything. And we'll start realizing we're actually not doing it at all. Not with awareness and not consistently enough. Because then the other dimension was, I thought, with all the issues and things that were inside of me, I just need to resolve it inside myself, talk it out with a person once, and it'll never come up again. It'll just disappear. I'm changed. No, it doesn't work like that. This is what I've also emphasized in so many videos, that to really change on every level in your consciousness, your being, your nature, your presence, your behavior, really become your redefined word, it's consistent application. It is a real-time change. It is real communication with others, with yourself. It is real when the past does come up again. Yes, remind yourself, hey, I've got to live and apply my redefined word and really become it and do it over and over and over again until you really become and see and experience and just know I've changed, right? So getting back to the emphasis of the living of words, okay? The living of words is now looking at what I've done was when I realized, goodness, I've only been seesawing experiences in my mind, in my own emotions and feelings. I need to actually go and talk to those people. I started writing out a list of names. I wrote down the issues I've had inside myself about that actually showed things about me I didn't take into consideration, wasn't aware of, that I took responsibility for. And then how can I redefine my relationship with that person in being more clear for me and for them, in being more resolved in the way I, from that moment onwards, approach my communication with them, my interaction with them, so that I with them share, look, at some point in my relationship with you, this was my internal experience that I created, taken responsibility for it. But I'd just like to share with you, I am going to work on changing how I communicate, approach you, interact. And it's not about you. It's not even about the other person, remember, but it is important that moment of communication, sharing, speaking, showing, not only so much for them, but also for you, and knowing, look, I'm actually doing this here with a real person, so that when I'm with a real person, I can be aware while I'm talking that, am I speaking clearly? Am I expressing myself clearly? Am I behaving in a way that can't be misconstrued or misinterpreted? Because this was also a bit more detail of what I did in the past. Is all these people, I was interacting, behaving, speaking in ways that could be misinterpreted in a million of ways. And then I picked up some changes in them and then in me, and then it was all just blurred lines, between us the whole time. So eventually, usually where our minds go is we tend to want to blame other people and go, you misinterpreted me. It's your fault. You're not understanding. You're not asking for context. But eventually, when push comes to shove and I look at myself, it was all on me. And I could have been way more clear, way more deliberate in my choice of words and how I decide to be in front of other people. All right, everyone. So this video, more an explanatory, overall, putting all the points out there. Join me for the next video where I'll take you through an actual practical step-by-step guide and some points that you can remind yourself of in this process of defining, redefining, and living words. But more important, the living word process, so that we don't get stuck in only changing in our minds with feelings and experiences, but that we're actually really changing in everything that's here in our world, in the physical. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Please bring a pen and paper for the next video, because we're going to ask you to write down some points, some steps, step guides of your day-to-day living application. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Enjoy.